Hello and welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, powered by Harper's Tree and Stump Removal. If you have any tree trimming, tree removal, or stump removal needs, our friends at Harper's Tree and Stump Removal have you covered. They can also haul rock and sand. They can do driveway work and can now do horizontal grindings of large wood debris piles. Give Keith a call at 229-314-2048 or at 229-938-2412. Harper's Tree and Stump Removal is proud to be the premier sponsor of the Integrity Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Integrity Sports Podcast, covering local sports in the Southwest Georgia area, creating content that is factual, positive, and informative, promoting efforts by athletes, coaches, and sports administrators. Now, here's your host, Tim Estes.
Hey, and thank you for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Let me encourage you to like and share this video with your friends. Also, we're needing your help to build our YouTube presence. So if you're a YouTube subscriber, go to your YouTube channel, look up the Integrity Sports Podcast, and hit the subscribe button. We are making an effort to get to 1,000 subscribers and could really use your help. Our guest today is someone that may be recognizable in the Americus area. He is the public address announcer for the Gwinnett Stripers as well as the Buford Wolves. Now I understand he's going to be doing some work with Georgia Tech baseball, and I just learned today he's going to be doing the state championship basketball games for the Georgia High School Association. Our guest is Cary Clayborn. Cary, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here, Tim. I've been following your podcast all through football season last fall and really enjoyed it. So it's an honor to be talking with you.
Cary, you've actually got a connection here in this area. I do remember several years ago, and I won't go back exactly how many unless you do that, but I knew you did Georgia Southwestern basketball when they had a local cable channel here. I think that this predates the Storm Dome, actually, if I'm right. But tell our audience a little bit about your days in Americus.
So the old stadium was called the Storm Dome 2 now, even though it wasn't as much of a dome as the one they have now. But, yeah, I came to Southwestern in 95. And after a couple of years, actually, I don't know if you know Tripper Sharp. He was at Southwestern, and it was kind of his brainchild we had that TV station, but there really wasn't any content on it at the time. They were just showing slideshows of upcoming events in town and, the whatever parade is happening on this date and that kind of stuff. And so he had the idea to create content for that channel, and he masterminded the whole thing. And then they found out the gym was actually wired up for video and audio. You just had to have some sort of truck to connect to it with your gear. And then they had a hard wire all the way back to the studio. So we're like, we can do live basketball on TV, And so I started then, hey, I think I could do play-by-play, man. Let me give it a shot. And sure enough, I did it for, I think, 3 years maybe. And it was a lot of fun. Sometimes it was my sister was out in the van doing the score on the screen, and whatever fraternity brother I had that was available that night might be sitting beside me as my color guy, and then a couple of people running cameras on the floor. That was a lot of fun in those days, and it helped that Southwestern had an amazing basketball men's and women's program then, like they do now.
They did, and your buddy Bob was involved back then too, right?
Very heavily involved. In fact, he sent me a clip not too long ago, and it's both of us sitting up there talking with each other as the game starts. And yeah, he did a bunch of games with me, and Bob and I are real close. We still talk all the time.
Well, Cary, you and I kind of knew who each other were back then. We've never been real close until recently. I think what kind of got me hooked back up with you was about a year ago when you were going through the tryouts as the Atlanta Braves public address announcer. And I saw some of that on Facebook, and we started talking. But let's talk a little bit about that process of you trying out to be the public address announcer for the Atlanta Braves. And I'm guessing that's probably helped you to secure some of what you're doing today, especially with the Gwinnett Stripers.
Oh, 100%. This time really, well, we'll say a little over a year ago, if you'd have told me you'll be announcing for the Gwinnett Stripers and Georgia Tech baseball, I would have said you're crazy, because at the time I had only done anything but Buford youth football and then one season of Buford high school football. I had never announced a baseball game at any level in my life, ever. The Braves just never asked me that question. They didn't know it, but had I gotten that gig, opening day at Truist Park would have been the first baseball game I ever stadium announced for in my life. But yeah, it was, I was sitting here one day working from home and saw an email that said the Braves were looking for a new PA announcer, which I knew they were going to be because unfortunately Casey Motter had passed.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll do it. And I was still like, I think I was wearing like a Buford hoodie, and I didn't make any effort, and it had to be videoed, and you had to read this exact script that they had posted online. And I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And then 2 Fridays later, we're out to eat, and I get an email on my phone that's like, hey, you're on to the next round. And I didn't know what that meant, but I was like, hey, that's great. And then next thing I know, I'm scheduled for a Zoom interview. And then the next thing I know, they're, hey, we want you to come down to Truist. And it was just so fast. And, how it was a whirlwind. And, but then I'm sitting in the announcer's chair at Truist Park, my voice coming over the stadium, and the room next door is Paul Bird, Eddie Perez, Timothy Miller, and Otis, the on-field MC. And they just like whisked us in, read this stuff, get out of here. And but it was crazy. But I made it to the top 12 out of like 600 people, I think, if you count all the people who showed up at Braves Fest to audition. And then Kevin Krause got the job, and he had previously been with the Gwinnett Stripers. So as soon as that happened, I reached out to Kevin and was like, hey, any chance you can put in a good word for me with the Stripers? They're only 12 minutes from my house. And he immediately texted back and said, I already told him you're the guy.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I got a great recommendation from the Braves front office too. And that really helped. And so as it turned out, opening night for the Stripers was the first baseball game I ever announced.
And you know what was kind of cool was you put this video out of your audition, and to see Paul Bird and Eddie Perez, as soon as you start talking, they kind of look at each other and go, man, I like this guy.
That was humbling and flattering for sure. In fact, Paul Bird said my voice was butter. And so I had people texting me butter pictures all the time. And my sister got me a Christmas ornament that's like a stick of butter. But that was the one thing, because I had not seen that footage at all. Like when I auditioned, they're in another room. So I don't know what they're saying about me.
Right.
And so I didn't know until everybody else saw when it came out on YouTube. And so we were all sitting here watching, and he said that. And my daughters both looked at me like, oh, my goodness, they're so excited. But yeah, it was crazy.
Cary, our show is brought to us each week by several sponsors. One of those I know is a friend of yours, Marty McDonald, State Farm Insurance. They're located at 925 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard in Americus. You can reach Marty at 928-3686 or on Facebook. Drop by and see Marty, Mary Lynn, or any of their staff and let them discuss your insurance needs with you. They can even do the famous discount double check to ensure that you're receiving all of the savings that are available to you. Thanks to Marty McDonald State Farm Insurance for sponsoring this segment of the show. And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Cary, in addition to the work that you do there with the Gwinnett Stripers, you're also the public address announcer for the Buford Wolves, and you have to live under a rock if you don't know about Buford football. Probably one of the best programs, if not just in the state of Georgia, I would say in the entire country at the high school level. And tell us a little bit about what it's like to be associated with such a high-profile high school program.
I consider it an honor for sure to be sitting in that chair. Only, a few other people have done it before me. I mean, the press box is named after Gene Kimbrough, and he did it for over 40 years. So it's exciting. I mean, every week it's ESPN or Peachtree TV or GPB. I mean, so many of our games are televised, and the press box is full of radio people and newspaper people, and that makes it exciting. And there's just so much riding on every game because Buford wants to win another state title, and they want to do it at the highest level because the highest classification is the only classification they have not won a state title yet. So that's very important. And every game is huge. And now, for so long, Buford was playing in lower classification. So a lot being in Gwinnett County, all the nearby schools were in the higher classification. So we didn't have any really close regional rivals. Like when I grew up in Duluth, Norcross High School was a few minutes away. That was our rival. We hated each other. So we never had that until now, being in the highest classification. Now we've got Mill Creek and Collins Hill and Mountain View, and all these schools are 10 minutes away. And, all the kids grew up playing each other in youth leagues. And but it's just exciting, man. I mean, we have good crowds. We have the big Jumbotron and the great graphics that our team does up there. And my brother is my spotter, which is fun for me. I get to spend 3 hours or so in the press box with my brother every Friday night, which is a lot of fun. And I've just loved every second of it. And I told them they'll have to drag me out of that booth one day because I'm not leaving. I love it.
I hear you. Hey, and you recently got a gig. I don't know if it's all season long. I think I saw where it's just a certain number of games, but with Georgia Tech baseball, that's got to be a thrill for you.
Big time. I mean, Division I college baseball. This will be my first time doing college sports at that high of a level. So that was just something where I saw online they posted they were looking to increase their PA announcing team. And it's funny, organizations and particularly colleges, I've learned, are a little squirrely when they put these calls out. You don't know what you're auditioning for. So I had no idea, were they looking for somebody to do football or baseball, or would it be swimming or lacrosse, or would it be somebody permanent position? Would it be something they might call me once a year? I had no idea. But again, like the thrill of auditioning for the Braves, I got to sit at the scorer's table at McCamish Pavilion, the basketball arena, and audition. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. And then they notified me, hey, we want you to be part of the team to announce some baseball and softball. And I was like, okay, great, but I still don't know what that means. And then a couple weeks later, he sent me a list of 10 games, which I think they have 30 home games, and he sent me 10 of them. And one of them I can't do because it does conflict with the opening night for the Stripers, but right. I'm going to do the other ones, and I'm super excited about that. And then recently, actually, I found out I get to do the University of Georgia and Georgia Tech game that's going to be played at Coolray Field in early March. And that'll be a packed house and a lot of fun for sure.
Absolutely. And then today or yesterday, I guess, you find out you get to do the Georgia High School Association state championships. How did that come about?
I mean, my wife asked me the same thing, and the answer is I'm not sure. But this is the one thing. When I didn't get the Braves job, this is something that several people mentioned to me, and I kept telling myself is regardless of the outcome of that, my name was now on a list that it wasn't on before because nobody outside of Buford had ever heard me before that. So I don't know. I got an email from some high ups at GHSA this morning and asked, are you available to work our championship games in Macon, March 6th through the 9th? And I was like, wait a second, what, me? And so I had to check the schedule and move a couple things around, but I'm gonna be able to do it. And that's, haven't done any state championship games either, so it's like another first, and I'm really excited about that. And Macon Coliseum, I mean, it's kind of cool in and of itself.
Sounds like a lot of fun. We're talking with Cary Clayborn, the voice of the Gwinnett Stripers, as well as the Buford Wolves. One of our sponsors today is One Digital Solutions. They are a steward of business growth and personal development. Their insurance, financial, and HR platforms provide you with a personalized tech-enabled solution for a contemporary work-life experience. One Digital resolves real problems for your business and your employees. They do that by fusing together customized solutions that address things like employee benefits, HR, and financial services. It's really everything all in one. It's One Digital. Contact our friend Will Peterson at 229-347-6289. One Digital is proud to sponsor the Integrity Sports Podcast. Cary, as you're gaining valuable experience in the public address arena, do you by any chance have any future aspirations of possibly doing this as a full-time profession?
Oh man, if I could figure out how to make money doing this, I would definitely do it as a full-time profession. I was talking with my preacher actually at church not too long ago, and he said I should really pursue it. And I said, well, I think pursuing this is something maybe I would have had to start a few years ago. Not now at 47. It's a little late to be getting in the game if you're going to try to make it a career. But I do look at all kinds of openings when I see them come available and think, can I make that happen? Can I fit that in? And would that open a door to maybe something bigger? I do have hopes that having gone through everything with the Braves, that could open up some doors to even just fill in if needed at Truist, or fill in for a Falcons game, or, something like that those would be dream come true kind of opportunities. But, for now it's just trying to, just enjoy. I enjoy it so much, and then trying to fit in when I can, this opportunity and that opportunity, and just see where it goes.
I want to carry you back a little bit, Cary. Let's think about your days at Georgia Southwestern and then fast forward to now. Did you ever imagine that you'd be doing what you're doing?
I never imagined 5 years ago that I'd be doing this, much less, 30 years ago. It just all happened so fast, I guess. And, I started doing youth football games because I went to my oldest daughter, when she first started cheerleading for Buford youth football. We noticed, I told my wife, the announcing's not great, but I think I could do that, having done the play-by-play and stuff I had done at Southwestern. So the next year I asked if they had anybody, and they're like, no, it's all yours. And those boys that I started then, I announced every home game that they played all the way through 8th grade, and now I get to announce them as they play in high school. So that's a big thrill for me. So anyways, I just thought I'd be doing youth football games for my daughter's teams that she was cheering for, and then the more and more people started to tell me, hey, you're doing a great job, and the more and more I enjoyed it, I thought maybe one day that seat will come available at the high school and I can do that. And I just never would have imagined that. I mean, if anything, at Southwestern, I would have thought maybe I could do something in play-by-play, because that's what I did for the TV station. Never even thought about stadium announcing. So yeah, I didn't figure I'd be here, but I'm enjoying the ride for sure.
Well, I want to give you a chance to give a shout out to Georgia Southwestern. And I know you stay connected to several people there right now, but when you look back, do you feel like the education that you got at Southwestern prepared you for your full-time job? And do you feel like the experience there on that TV station prepared you for what you're doing now?
So the best education I got at Southwestern, and this is not to say anything bad about any of the professors. They were all great. I never had any complaints in that department. But the best education and the things I learned that have helped me the most are what I actually learned with Bob Slinker and the TV station and working with the IT department, because he taught me video editing and, working with cameras and audio routing and mixing. And he taught me so much that has helped me a lot. And my day job, I work for AVI Systems, which is the largest audio visual service provider in the world.
Wow.
And so all of that knowledge that I learned from him and everything we did with the TV station, it probably helped me more than anything. But I came to Southwestern as a vocal music major, and got to sing in the barbershop quartet down there for a couple of years, which was a lot of fun with some of my buddies who were actually went to the same high school that I did, and lifelong friends and brothers in my fraternity. And I wouldn't trade the experience I had in Americus and at Southwestern for anything. Those were some great years, and led me to where I am now.
Well, Cary, as we get ready to wrap things up, the last question that I ask everybody each week has really turned into a highlight. Folks ask for this, and I try to ask about the folks that behind the scenes have been your support network, those folks that keep you encouraged and lift you up. Tell us who some of those folks are for Cary Clayborn.
Oh, it's my wife and my girls. They have to put up with me being gone a lot, especially once baseball season kicks up. I mean, a lot of people don't realize the AAA teams, I mean, they still play 71 home games.
Right.
That's a lot of nights that my wife is flying solo here with the girls. And because I'm on those nights, I'm typically gone before they even get home from school. My wife's a teacher, by the way, an amazing one at that. And so typically by the time they get home from school, I'm already gone, headed to the stadium. And when I get home, the girls are in bed. So their support and, pushing me and supporting me and cheering for me, it's been great. In fact, the opening night of the Stripers last year, they surprised me, and I knew a lot of people were coming, but they had shirts made that said, like, "We love the PA announcer."
Yeah.
And they were holding up signs and stuff, and that was a thrill for me. But it's every time I have some kind of opportunity, the first thing that goes through my mind is, how's this going to affect them? Is this something I can fit in? Because my daughters are very involved in school, and there's always a lot going on. So just to sing my wife's praises again today, when I came home and was telling her about the opportunity to do the state championship basketball games, her immediate response was, you can't say no to this one, or you can't not do this one. I forget how she worded it, but it was basically like, you have to do it. I mean, this is a great opportunity. She knows that means I'm going to be down in Macon for, 4 days and away from home again. But she's been so supportive, and my girls always cheering for me. And, I'll kind of look down out of the press box window at Coolray Field, and they'll be sitting down there waving at me, and they've just been great. So I love them very much, and I'm very thankful for how they push me and support me.
Well, let me tell you this, Cary. Most weeks I put out a thumbnail to advertise who's going to be our guest for 2 or 3 days before the show airs. Did that this week with you, and I have really been surprised at how many people have reached out to me or seen me in town and said, "Hey, I remember him," or "I didn't know that you knew Cary Clayborn. Tell him I said hey," and that kind of thing. So a lot of folks here in the Americus area still remember you. They think a lot of you. And man, they're just wishing you the best in all this that you're getting to do. And I want to thank you for joining me tonight. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. And that means a lot that at least a few people will remember me down there. Like I said, I loved my time down there for sure. So it was an honor when you asked me to join you, man. And like I said, I've enjoyed watching the podcast, and we'll keep on watching.
Again, we want to thank you, our viewers, for making the Integrity Sports Podcast a part of your weekly routine. Please go to our YouTube page and hit subscribe, and whatever platform you're watching on, make sure and like and share the video. For my friend Cary Clayborn, I'm Tim Estes. Thanks for watching. So long, everybody.